Do you commonly wonder, is alcohol good for my Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis? Hi, I'm Danielle and I'm a virtual IBD Registered Dietitian Nutritionist. This video is for you if you're eager to learn what the research says and the differences in alcohol choices for IBD. First of all, can alcohol cause Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis? Evidence linking alcohol consumption and the development of new onset IBD is controversial and still remains unclear. Many of the claims are based on the idea that alcohol may negatively change the gut microbiome and contribute to intestinal inflammation. This has been observed in patients with alcohol abuse disorder who had similar microbiome compositions to people with IBD. Additionally, negative changes in the gut microbiome due to alcohol abuse is known to provide opportunities for bad or pathogenic bacteria such as C. diff to take over. While there's no clear evidence that alcohol consumption is causally associated with the risk of IBD, early alcohol abuse may be linked to developing Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis later in life. So what does alcohol do to Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis? A few research studies have looked at alcohol use among people with IBD and investigated the effect on symptoms. For example, a 2010 study in the journal Alcohol found that drinking alcohol may worsen IBD symptoms. It did only look at 52 participants who had Crohn's disease and 38 people who had UC and relied on responses to a questionnaire. A 2018 review of 12 research studies published in the journal Annals of Gastroenterology investigated the effects of alcohol on people with IBD. Most of the studies concluded that alcohol consumption worsens Crohn's and UC. Another study published in 2018 in the Journal of Leukocyte Biology found similar effects, suggesting that alcohol increases infection risk in people with IBD. And finally, a 2018 study published in the Journal of Gastroenterology found that people with IBD who drank alcohol were more likely to report increased symptoms. Can alcohol cause Crohn's or UC flare-ups? Alcohol causes most people with IBD to experience worse symptoms. Side effects of even moderate alcohol consumption may include gut irritation, diarrhea, and bleeding. Because of this, the typical medical advice is to avoid drinking during a flare. However, tolerances to foods and beverages are unique in Crohn's disease and UC. This means that some people with IBD can enjoy moderate amounts of alcohol without experiencing adverse side effects. But some people with IBD, like my husband with Crohn's disease, may not be able to tolerate any alcohol without experiencing symptoms. So what alcohol can you drink with IBD? While alcohol is a common IBD trigger, different guts tolerate different foods and beverages differently with this condition. So really, there are two things to keep in mind when determining your own tolerance for alcohol. One, the type of alcohol, and two, the portion size. People with Crohn's and UC can react differently to different types of alcohol. For example, hard liquor like vodka may be tolerated by one person with ulcerative colitis, while beer has a strong trigger for symptoms for them. Yet another person with UC may experience the total opposite. Some people with IBD may not be able to tolerate any alcohol at all. For example, I mentioned my husband with Crohn's disease can't tolerate alcohol. He's tried all the different types of alcohol and hasn't been able to tolerate any type. So what does the research say about different types of alcohol in IBD? A 2007 study examined the effects of 5 alcoholic beverages on 32 participants, 20 of whom had Crohn's disease, to see which drinks caused the most symptoms. So here are the beverages used in the study: white wine, red wine, elephant beer, which is a particular brand of beer, Smirnoff Ice, which is a flavored malt beverage, and pure alcohol. Long story short, out of the 5 drinks, the Smirnoff Ice and beer caused the most symptoms in a number of people with Crohn's disease. And the researchers attributed the higher amount of symptoms to higher sugar concentrations in those beverages, which can trigger symptoms like diarrhea in people with IBD. A different study published in 2011 examined what would happen in 21 participants with IBD who drank moderate amounts of red wine during periods of IBD remission. The researchers found that the wine may lead to increased permeability in the lining of the intestines, also known as leaky gut, which could lead to future Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis flare-ups. What about alcohol and IBD medication? It's important to know that alcohol may interact with certain Crohn's disease or UC medications. Some of the possible interactions include delaying the breakdown of the medications, accelerating the metabolism of the medications, and causing liver damage. So here are some of the categories of IBD medications that react badly with alcohol: immunosuppressants, 5-aminosalicylates, biologics, and antibiotics. So make sure to check the labels of the medications you're taking and make sure it's safe to drink alcohol. If you are unsure whether it's safe to drink alcohol while taking them, it's always best to ask your healthcare professionals. So your dietitian, your doctor, your pharmacist, we can all help. So what can you actually drink with Crohn's disease or UC? Remember, not all foods and drinks affect people with IBD in the same way. So if you have Crohn's or UC, take the time to use a symptom food journal to identify the drinks that make your symptoms worse or trigger flare-ups. A pro tip to keep in mind, though, is that fancy drinks or cocktails may have other ingredients other than alcohol that may trigger symptoms. For example, milk-based drinks like eggnog may be problematic for people who are lactose intolerant. Alternatively, caffeine found in Jaeger bombs could trigger symptoms. So ideally, you want to know what else is in your drink other than just the alcohol itself. Now, if you can't tolerate any type of alcohol, or maybe you're choosing to limit alcohol during a flare, for example, consider enjoying a non-alcoholic beverage like a mocktail. I know my husband has FOMO, fear of missing out, when other people are enjoying things around him. So mocktails can be a great idea to have you in on the action, and maybe the mocktail could have alcohol added to it for someone else who can tolerate it, but you're all drinking the same beverage. I have some fun recipes on my website if you want to check them out. So what's the verdict? Is alcohol good for Crohn's disease and UC? During times when you're flaring, like when you have a lot of diarrhea and abdominal pain, alcoholic drinks are not recommended. It may be okay to enjoy alcohol in moderation if you don't have symptoms and your inflammation is low. If you do take part in drinking alcohol, you want to keep a symptom food journal on how you're feeling after doing so. If your IBD symptoms worsen, it may be best to eliminate alcohol from your regular daily living. Speak to your dietitian, your doctor, or healthcare provider if you have any questions or concerns about alcohol consumption in your IBD. Did you find this YouTube video helpful? If so, please let us know by liking it and subscribing to this YouTube channel. Thanks!